Welcome to our U.S. briefing program. Today, we dive into the latest developments from China as they unveil a special action plan aimed at boosting domestic consumption in response to U.S. tariffs. The plan focuses on increasing incomes, childcare subsidies, and more, all while setting a growth target of around 5% for the year. With retail sales showing a slight increase, the challenge remains to revitalize consumer spending and navigate a slowing economy. In other news, a former youth pastor from Australia has been arrested in the U.S. over serious allegations involving child sexual abuse material. Daniel Menelaou, 28, faces multiple charges after authorities discovered disturbing evidence during a search of his home. The church he worked for has condemned his actions and is committed to protecting children, while the investigation continues. Lastly, the coalition in Australia is set to introduce new racketeering laws targeting union corruption, particularly within the CFMEU. With concerns about violence and organized crime linked to unions, this proposed legislation aims to hold organizations accountable for illegal activities. Opposition leader Peter Dutton has called it the biggest corruption scandal in Australia's history. Please continue watching for more detailed coverage. CNN reports that China has launched a comprehensive, special action plan aimed at boosting domestic consumption in response to the economic challenges posed by U.S. tariffs under President Trump. The plan, unveiled through the state-run Xinhua news agency, encompasses various initiatives, including increasing personal incomes, establishing a childcare subsidy system, and enhancing a cash for clunkers program to trade in old vehicles and electronics. Premier Li Qiang has set a growth target of around 5% for the year, emphasizing the need for increased consumer spending to stabilize the economy, which is currently hindered by weak consumption and a struggling property market. Recent data indicated a modest rise in retail sales, but concerns about deflation and an uncertain job market persist. Nikkei Asia highlights that the Chinese government is focused on stimulating domestic consumption and supporting employment through its newly announced action plan. Following the unveiling of the plan, the CSI 300 index saw a slight uptick, reflecting investor optimism. The plan aims to vigorously stimulate consumption and includes measures to promote income growth, enhance service consumption, and stabilize the stock market amidst a challenging economic environment. Policymakers are particularly concerned about high unemployment rates among college graduates and have committed to raising the minimum wage. While retail sales showed a promising increase of 4% in early 2025, mixed economic signals suggest that the government faces an uphill battle to maintain momentum and avoid a deflationary spiral. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation reports on the arrest of Daniel Menelaou, a former youth pastor from a mega church in Adelaide, who has been charged in the United States with possessing child sexual abuse material. Menelaou, 28, was apprehended in Atlanta after allegedly sharing abusive videos on the social media platform Kik. His arrest followed an investigation sparked by a cyber tip, leading authorities to search his home and seize electronic devices. The church, Futures Church, expressed its shock and dismay over the allegations, emphasizing their commitment to child protection and stating that they had no prior knowledge of any wrongdoing. Menelaou's position has been terminated, and the church has assured its community that they are not affiliated with his actions, highlighting their zero-tolerance policy regarding abuse. Australian Broadcasting Corporation reports that the coalition is set to introduce new racketeering laws aimed at eradicating union corruption, particularly within the CFMEU, which has faced allegations of violence and organized crime. Shadow Workplace Relations Minister Michaelia Cash emphasized that these laws would allow authorities to target not just the individuals committing crimes but also the leaders of organizations that enable such behavior. The proposed legislation draws inspiration from the RICO Act in the United States, which was designed to hold criminal organizations accountable. Opposition leader Peter Dutton described the situation as the biggest corruption scandal in our country's history, with billions of taxpayer dollars at stake, further pressuring the government to act decisively against union misconduct. Yahoo US highlights the upcoming NCAA tournament matchup between Kentucky and Liberty, where the Wildcats, seeded fourth, are looking to assert their dominance against the 13-seed Flames. Kentucky has had a strong season, finishing with a 22-7 record and only one loss against a non-conference opponent. In contrast, Liberty, despite entering the tournament on an 11-game winning streak and as a conference champion, has historically struggled in the NCAA, with only one first-round victory in its history. The prediction leans towards Kentucky, who will be playing on their home court, motivated after an early exit from the SEC tournament, setting the stage for an exciting first-round clash. Australian Broadcasting Corporation also covers the deportation of over 200 alleged members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua from the U.S. to El Salvador, where they were placed in a high-security prison. This action was taken under the controversial Alien Enemies Act, which allows for rapid deportation of individuals deemed a threat. Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele showcased the arrival of the deportees, highlighting the strict measures taken upon their transfer. However, a federal judge temporarily blocked the application of this law, raising concerns about the legality of the deportations. The situation has sparked debate over migrants' rights, with Venezuelan officials denouncing the use of this historical law as a violation of human rights. The U.S. government's actions reflect its ongoing struggle with immigration enforcement amid legal challenges and public scrutiny. South China Morning Post reports on the sensitive issue surrounding the next Dalai Lama's selection, especially as the current Dalai Lama approaches his 90th birthday. Since fleeing to India in 1959 after the PLA's crackdown on Tibet, the Dalai Lama has remained a pivotal figure in Tibetan Buddhism, with his reincarnation process steeped in tradition. The Chinese government firmly opposes the idea of a successor being born outside its borders, fearing that such a move could incite social unrest in Tibetan regions. The current Dalai Lama's hints about his successor's birthplace have been met with vehement rejection from Beijing, which insists on controlling the appointment of Tibetan Buddhist leaders. This delicate situation has far-reaching implications not only for Tibet but also for China's relations with the United States and India, as the U.S. has historically supported the Dalai Lama and Tibetan autonomy, while India navigates its own complex relationship with both Tibetans and China. The New York Times highlights the anguish of Venezuelan families amidst a recent wave of deportations under the Trump administration, with Morelos Cacique's story exemplifying the distress. Her son, detained in Texas, vanished from immigration records just before being deported, leaving her in despair and uncertainty. The deportation of 238 Venezuelans to El Salvador has sparked fear among families, who worry about their loved ones being wrongfully labeled as gang members by the government. While the White House described the deportees as part of a dangerous gang, relatives argue that many have no criminal ties. The Salvadoran government has since released troubling images of the deported individuals being processed in a notorious prison, further intensifying the sense of dread and helplessness among families left behind. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
Lights dim, voices loud, headlines flashing wild. World in a frame and now, stories told, it's time to plow. Eyes glued, truth pursued, understanding woven through. Heartbeats race breaking through, knowledge spreads the new view. Breaking the news, breaking the day, truth and insight our way. Every story, every play, live and clear we convey. Shadows lift, facts unfold, moments chasing, stories told. Heroes, villains, tales of old in this hour. Breaking the news, breaking the day, truth and insight our way. Every story, every play, living clear we convey. Every story, every play, and clear we convey. Truth and insight our way. Truth and insight our way. Depths revealed, voices bright, news in focus, black and white. Every